Pancake day. Hello, it's that time of the month again where I say, what you got this month, wldnas? Yeah, end of the month bot haul. Before I get into showing you what I've got, little something I wanted to say up front. Now, if you watched my bot haul last month, you'll know I had a bit of car trouble. And basically, what happened was it 2 weeks before the end of the month, I was going out doing a toy hunt around Coventry, and a brake line split on the back of my car above the fuel tank, and basically I lost virtually all braking power on my car, and I had to limp around Coventry. Got the car home, took it to some local garages. They said they couldn't do it, so I ended up having to drive the car over to Stratford upon Avon to the local Honda dealer, and put the car in there. Got a loan car over the weekend. They fixed it, and then I got a whopping great bill for 390 odd quid, like nigh on 400 quid. And that wasn't the end of it, because then the following week, me and my mate Richard went over to the Banbury Comic Con, and when we came back, I noticed I'd got a puncture. Picked up a puncture in my offside rear tyre, and when I took it off and examined it, there was a key about this long had wedged itself between the tread blocks on the inner sidewall shoulder, and the tyre was scrapped. So I had to buy a brand new tyre, cost of nearly 100 quid. So in the space of 7 days, the car cost me nearly £500 in repairs, and basically 500 quid is roughly what I budget for, disposable income to spend on plastic crack every month. So it took all that away. Or I did get some overtime last month, but it ate all that and then some. And so going into this month, I was at a disadvantage financially. I didn't have as much money as I had hoped. The money in my current account was at a low level, and I needed to save money and build it up. So anyway, my car, this car, has now officially, I've only owned it for about 6 months, and it's cost me more money in repairs than it did to buy the thing in the first place. And my mate Richard, he says, call the car Damien. So Damien it is, the car of the devil. So that's that. Right, let's get on to this haul proper. Now, I have been buying a lot of comics. You probably notice I've been adding them to these toy hauls this time round, and I usually buy them off eBay. But I've noticed there's a comic stall that appears in the local like a cart type thing in the local shopping centre in Leamington Spa called Spa-Town Comics, and I noticed they started stocking Transformers comics. So on the 3rd of February I was in town and noticed they'd got Lost Light number 2 and Optimus Prime number 3. So I managed to pick them up at £3.80 each. It's not a bad price to pay for them. I sometimes pay a little bit more or a little bit less than that for getting them online. Plus the fact I can, you don't have to get them posted. So you just pick them up, walk home and read them. It's great. Not really into the current comics. The art style isn't quite to my taste, and the stories don't really seem to be doing much at the moment that's spectacular. Well, Optimus Prime is getting interesting because the Junkions are coming into the fray, and they're kind of interesting. But Lost Light, yeah, I'll have to suck it and see, keep getting them, see if they get any better. So I'll pick those up. Then on Sunday the 12th of February, it was an NEC Toy Fair again, and I decided to go. I usually take £100 to the NEC Toy Fair, but because I was under budget constraints because of the unexpected car repairs, I decided to take £50 instead of my usual 100. So went to the NEC. Obviously the price of the early bird ticket's gone up for this year. It used to be £10, now it's £12. Bit annoying, but it is what it is. You know, you still get into the event 2.5 hours early, so you can walk round. You know, well, the sellers are still setting up, and you still get free parking at the NEC, so it's not that bad really. And it's been, you know, the early bird price has been £10 for donkey's years, and they've just had to put it up a little bit. But it was a surprise anyway. So yeah, walking round, I think it was we met my mate Richard, was walking round. I think it was about the second or third row of dealers. Found a guy who was selling Transformers, including some loose G1 Headmasters. And I had a Brainstorm, and I've been after a G1 Brainstorm, so I'll pick this guy up. He's in pretty good condition, loose, no box or instructions, but he has got all his accessories. Obviously, he's got the Headmaster in there, he's got his guns, got all the decals, even if some of them are a little bit crooked. It's got a loose joint there. The hip ratchets are ridiculously tight. You know, they make a really loud cracking noise when you turn them, and it feels like you're going to break it. But yeah, there's a little bit of sun fading on there, but apart from that, he's in pretty good condition. Now, bearing in mind I took 50 quid with me, this guy was 45 quid. Now, I don't know whether I paid over the odds for this. He is in good condition, to be fair, but personally, for a loose G1 figure in the condition this one's in, I would have preferred to have paid like 35 quid rather than 45 quid. But I sort of begrudgingly paid it. I knew I wanted this guy, and so I picked him up. But in buying this, it meant I had hardly any money left to buy anything else. So I carried on walking up the aisles, and we was getting to the end, the back of the hall, and found another chap who was selling Transformers, and he had a wide selection. And then I noticed something stood on the back of his stall, something that I've been after for a while. Yeah, Bandai Robotech Varijet Fighter VF1J, I think this one is. Yeah, originally a Takatoku Toys figure, was later the mould was later taken up by Bandai. It was also used as the basis for G1 Jetfire, but this is one of the original ones. This toy's been reissued a whole bunch of times over the years, but I think this is an original like mid-80s one. Now the guy wanted 20 quid for it, and I tried to beat him down on the price, managed to beat him down to 18, but of course I only had 6 quid to my name, and I really wanted it. And then my mate Richard agreed to loan me the money so that I could buy it, so thanks Richard. I know you don't watch these videos, but yeah, my mate Richard, he came through for me and allowed me to buy it. I've had to do some touch-ups to it because it was a bit bland, hasn't got much in the way of stickers, so I've done some paint apps there. I've put some stripes around there, little red paint apps here and here, little red on the wings there, and touch-ups there. This wing is sometimes a bit loose. It has got some loose joints. One of the arms, the ratchet wasn't working properly for it. When I took it apart, found out that the spring was missing. So fortunately I managed to get a spare. I got some RC car parts in the loft. I found a suitably sized spring, cut a few coils off it, stuck it in, screwed it back together, and the ratchets now work. So it's in pretty good condition. Obviously it's got a gear walk mode and it transforms into a robot. Didn't come with a gun. It's got a little bit of damage on the nose wheel, and the landing wheel here won't clip in, but I've sort of wedged it in there. But pretty good nick for what it is, and again, sort of like an early 80s toy, and I really wanted one. Oh yeah, one of the antennas is broken on the head as well. But yeah, I've got that, so that was great. And that was basically all the stuff I got from the NEC Toy Fair. The following day, it was obviously Monday the 13th, I bought an item off eBay, a little Reveal the Shield Trailcutter. Great little figure. Obviously last month I got Bad Cube's Speed Bump, and it made me think, I'd like to collect more versions of the Trailbreaker Trailcutter mould, and I've kind of always liked the look of this one, so I decided to get that. that was pretty cheap, and the guy was only in Kenilworth who shipped this out, so yeah, very local. Then, well, that particular week, the 13th to the 17th, I was actually off work. I had some leave I carried over from the previous year, and you have to use it up within so many calendar months. So I decided to take the week off work. Got as far as the Friday, the 17th, and decided, right, I'm bored now, I want to do something. And as you recall, a few videos back, I did a video that I complaining I couldn't buy bots at the supermarkets. I was trying to get hold of the new RID Combiner Force figures at the local supermarkets, but they had them in stock, but they couldn't sell them because they hadn't entered them on the system. I've been back a few times since, but haven't seen the figures that I wanted because they were sold out. So on Friday the 17th, I decided, right, I'm going to try again. But instead of going around the local supermarkets in Warwick and Leamington, I'm going to go around the supermarkets in Coventry. So I set off in Damien over to Coventry and drove around, I think it was about 6 or 7 different supermarkets. I went around like 4 different Tesco's and 2 different Asda's. And wasn't a wasted trip because I finally managed to get Stormshot. The second Asda that I went to over Coventry, they had a Stormshot, and it was the only one on the shelf, and it was right at the back, and I think I got the only Stormshot on sale in the Coventry area. But there we go. I got him. Yeah, he's a decent little bot. I mean, obviously it's a robot scrunched up underneath, but a decent enough plane. The bot mode's really nice, decent paint apps. You know, these RID figures, I mean, I've been buying RID figures since day one, but a lot of people now are seeing these new RID designs that are coming out, and they're buying into them because they're half decent. But yeah, I got him, so I got him for 12 quid, which was great. And on my way back, I wanted to go into Tesco's at Warwick to see if they'd got Legion Springload. Unfortunately, as I was driving in, there's like 2 main roads from Leamington that go into Warwick. The road that I was going down, the traffic suddenly ground to a halt, and I could see police lights flashing down the hill, and there'd obviously be some sort of accident, and they'd shut the road. So everybody had to turn around and double back, and of course all the side streets were full of people trying to find another way round. So I thought, sod it, I'm never going to get to Warwick at this rate, so I went home, and that was the end of that. But when I arrived home, there was a package waiting for me, and you know I like to buy my KTRT bots. Well, this month, instead of buying 2 KTRT bots, I only bought 1. But it's a big un. Say hello to Biklons Mega Beasts Thunder Guardian. Now, with this, I have now officially got all the Biklons from all the series. There's 10 10 bots altogether. They all form beasts, which then merge together to form combiners. This particular combiner is made out of 3 different units. You've got this green one in the middle, which forms the torso. That's a giant elk. You've then got the blue legs. That's the mammoth, and then you've got the bird, which is all the yellow and red bits around the back, and do the arms, and that's a large bird called Argentavis. So I've got this. Been meaning to do a review on this, but I can't quite figure out how to do it because obviously this splits up into 3 different animals, and the animals themselves are fairly simplistic, and you know they don't transform into individual robots. They just you know form together to form the combiner, and you can make a bigger combiner out of this by adding the cross attacker parts. That's Direwolf and the Sabertooth. And they basically become the arms. This thing gets bigger, and he gets a new hat, and he becomes Barbarian King. But got this guy. He was quite expensive. He was like just over 93 quid shipped. So because I was trying to save money, and because this is one big expensive bot, I only bought 1 KTRT bot this month. But it is theoretically 3 bots in one. So got him, and he arrived on the 17th. Then the next day, having not been able to go to Tesco's in Warwick the day before, I decided to have another go on the Saturday. And got lucky because they'd restocked, on the Transformers Legion class figures, which means I finally managed to get Springload. He's a decent little figure. Deliberately didn't go for the one-step Springload, even though he's quite neat and quirky. Frog mode is passable as a frog, and his alt mode is totally wrong. He turns into like a modern sort of like racing stadium truck. But if you watch the show in the episodes where Springload appears, he transforms into a 1940 style sidestep pickup truck, and this thing sort of transforms into that. So this is a more accurate version of the character. So I got him. He was £7, so I finally got little Springy Load. And yeah, and obviously they're characters that people have been after, and then I went on eBay and I bought another character that people have been buying recently. Titans Return Gnaw. And I've only got one. I don't need to troop build these things. Yeah, got him. I only just opened him like 10 minutes ago to get him out of the packet so I could do this review. He's pretty neat. He's pretty cool. Now, I've seen a video of some guy on YouTube who unboxed one. He thought it was a knockoff that he'd bought. Well, this one's got all the copyright, all the serial number stamps on it and stuff. But one thing I will say, the card, as you can see, as he said, it had like little dents in the corner. As you can see, it's got dents in the corner. But when you flip it over, it says kickback. It's got Gnaw on the front and kickback on the back. So what gives? Is that a printing error? Is that why, is this like a factory second where they've printed off the wrong cards and put them into the package, and so the Chinese seller was selling them off cheap? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't pay a whole lot for this. He came from a seller in China. It is what it is. But he's a neat little figure. And like I said, I just need one of these. I only need one. And it's kind of ironic that I bought this guy because when I get to the comics at the end of the haul, you'll see why. So now we're getting on to the last of the bits. Titans Return Gnaw, he arrived on the 21st. Then on the 23rd, I got these guys. Unique Toys, YM02, Schunck and Betta. That's their little Skull Cruncher and Hardhead. They're neat little bots. Now in my review, because I did a review on these guys, world first review if you hadn't noticed. Yeah, I said this guy hadn't got any ankle tilts. Well, tell a lie, he has. He has got ankle tilts. I didn't notice that he got a little rotation joint in the back of his heel. So yeah, he has got ankle tilts, which is good because when he's flat-footed, he doesn't stand up particularly well. But anyway, he's all right. I got to admit, I much prefer this guy to this guy. But yeah, I've got them. The next ones have been announced. It's what's it called? It's called Blue Cat and Naughty, aka Mind Wipe and Brainstorm. Got to admit, the Brainstorm looks a bit weird. Looks very blocky in its spaceship mode, but the Mind Wipe looks all right. So I'm really getting into these guys. So I'm probably going to get the next ones as well. They should be out pretty soon. So they arrived on the 23rd, and my final purchases for the month on the 24th. Went uptown, went to Spartown Comics in town centre again, and I bought Optimus Prime number 4, Lost Light number 3, and Revolutionaries number 2. Now, of these comics, gotta love that picture of Retgar on the front there. I love that. Now, as I was saying about Sharkies, right? The Junkians have come to Earth in one of those corkscrew ships, and basically they want the All-13, and they want to trade technology, Transformer technology, for the All-13. Optimus Prime and all the others are basically spying on them, rebuff, and So now they're junkions are taking life into their own hands, and they've released a plague of Sharkticons. And yeah, as you can see, Sharkies everywhere. So it's kind of ironic that I've got that. So there's that. Lost Light, again, not really floating my boat with a Lost Light. There's interesting things going on. Spoilers, you actually see what Rung transforms into in this issue, and it's a filthy great drill tank. Anyway, you have to read it to see it. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I got that. Now, I will say, out of these 3 comics, I probably enjoyed this one the most, Revolutionaries #2, and even though this isn't a full-on Transformers comic, it has got Transformers in it, because you've got Cup and GB Blackrock, aka Sovereign, in it. But you've got they're sort of hooked up with the Micronauts, and I quite like the Micronauts, but I don't like them enough to buy their own comic. And some interesting things happen in this comic. Again, spoilers if you're watching and you want to collect the comics, but where is it? Right. Cup says the bar weep grana weep ninny bomb. He says that. Then we get a surprise appearance of Baron Ironblood. Are you kidding me? Baron Ironblood? Where they dug him up from? And yeah, and basically they attack a base on the moon, blah blah blah, trying to steal some sort of artifact. But they've teamed up with the Micronauts, and I quite like the Micronauts, especially Acro Year. He's like this super warrior, but he's only like 4 inches tall. And in Revolution, he went toe to toe with Snake Eyes and basically gave him a flesh wound, which was kind of funny. But yeah, this is actually quite good. I'm sort of getting into this. So that is it. That is all I bought this month. Now, you got to bear in mind, obviously, I was at a financial disadvantage. I couldn't buy as much things as I wanted to because, you know, I didn't have as much money available as I normally would. But at the end of the month, when I got paid, I was able to check to see exactly how much money I'd saved, and I managed to save 330 quid. So my cash reserves are now back up to 1,600 quid from 1,300 quid. So they're out of the danger zone. I actually only spent £245.67, and in that I placed 13 orders and bought 9 bots. So it wasn't a bad month after all. I actually came out of it quite well. Got a decent selection of plastic, bought a bunch of comics, managed to save some money. So there we go. Now, obviously, the game starts again tomorrow morning, and I've got, I think it's like 5 or 6 items I'm watching on eBay that, provided they're still there come the morning, I'm going to be going buy. And I totted them up, and the price, the combined price, buy it now price of the items I'm looking at to buy tomorrow is more than the money I spent this month. So I'm gonna splooge out on eBay tomorrow morning. And yeah, so that is that. Hope you found this video interesting. This is about the 4th time I've tried to record it because things keep going wrong. But yeah, it's been interesting. I've got a few bots that every man and his dog has been after, finally. And so yeah, that has been me, TFR Wilderness. I've shown you what I've got, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.